I've had an extremely interesting life and career. And I've reached the point where I'm retired. I'd like to be able to take what I've learned from my jobs and my education, try to make things better in Nevada. I've worked for, well, first of all, my education, I've got a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, PhD in physical chemistry. Strong background in computer applications in science and engineering. And as an engineer, you learn a lot about how to get the biggest bang for the buck. That's how you go from science to engineering. You've got to take something that's a conceptual idea, bring it to a practical conclusion. And I worked in industry for several years with Shell Oil Company, half the time in a research lab, half the time in operations. Then I resigned from Shell and started my own consulting, engineering consulting company. I was a registered professional engineer in Colorado, Wyoming, and California for a number of years, and developed a short course for a 2-day short course on basic petroleum technology back during the 70s and 80s to teach people who were not technically trained in the industry how the industry would fit together, what geology did, what geophysics did, what drilling was all about, what petroleum engineering was all about. That course was taught, I don't even remember how many times, but we had around 10,000 students over a period of 4 or 5 years, including a couple of classes in London and one in The Hague and one in Aberdeen, Scotland. So I've had that level of teaching experience. I've also taught thermal physics class at the University of Houston as an honorarium professor. I taught probability and statistics to senior level students at the University of Colorado for several years. And in the 80s, when oil started to hit the bottom again, the interesting projects dried up, and I wound up looking for something more interesting and came out here in 1987 to work on the nuclear waste program. There's quite a lot of similarity between what happens when fluids flow underground in an oil and gas well and what happens when you're looking at radioactive waste transport. Stayed here for 3 years, moved to California with Lawrence Livermore Lab at the University of California. Again, working on nuclear waste and also some other hazardous waste problems. While I was out there, my wife got her law degree from Hastings in San Francisco. We came back here in 1995 and still working for Lawrence Livermore and retired in 2000. So I feel like I've got a very broad background in both business and science and engineering and teaching that I think give me the ability to help steer our way through some of these complicated problems we're facing with. And so the short answer is I feel like I can do some good.